Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 243 of the Noclip podcast. It's a Crewcast, but the J's are down. You're down a J, Jeremy Jane.
Yeah, I rolled a J to replace Jesse, to smoke one down in his honor, and to replace him as an honorary J.
That's really good. I like that. It's very appropriate. Jesse's at the dentist. he had a dental appointment, which is either the world's laziest excuse or the world's most appropriate excuse. I, for one, hope he's not getting like a root canal. I hope it's like just a checkup. You know what I mean?
I was pulling public domain pictures of teeth for a game development project that I was working on. And I was digging through all of these pictures of teeth. And when you search like teeth and gums in the public domain, a lot of it is like medical images.
Awesome.
And I swear to God, making a horror game is the best decision I've ever made for my health, because every time I look up an image of a body part, I'm like, I gotta go brush my teeth. Or I was looking up images of lungs, and I was like, man, I should go like for a walk. Like, I gotta go like work on my lungs.
Man, oh man, those cigarette packets would work in those European cigarette packets, yes. Right? That's some good stuff. Frank, what's your favorite thing to do at the dentist?
I always like at the end, you always ask for the free bag of like toothbrushes and floss and all that stuff. So they usually don't always give it out. They've like been really skimping out on them, or they only give it for kids.
Trumponomics, so dude. Trumponomics, you know?
Yeah. I always ask like, hey, wait, can I get the free bag of stuff? Like, okay. And you know, so I have like 6 toothbrushes piled up, but there are still nothing. You never know. When
I was a kid, we used to get like a balsa. When I was a boy, we used to get balsa wood airplanes. You know what I'm talking about?
Really?
Like Yeah. It was like a folded up thing, sort of the dimensions of like a comb in like a plastic tube, and you would unfold it, and it would separate, and the wings and the body were two separate things, and you'd slide them into each other like a cross shape.
Yeah,
and then they would fly like really well. Like they were styrofoam, so they probably ended up like in the street everywhere. But it was awesome.
I mean, it's more fun than playing with a toothbrush. So
yeah, I said balsa wood and styrofoam. They were made of styrofoam, but I am aware of the similar thing that's balsa wood. They should switch over to that so it decays instead of just stays there and for 1,000 years.
I always felt like you could push the styrofoam ones through a little bit less gingerly. You know, you could be a bit rougher with those ones because they weren't going to break. They bend a little bit. But like you said, that's why we're all got like forever plastics in everything that we drink or breathe or anything now. So hooray for that. Thanks, dentists. You fixed our teeth and ruined the world.
I have a great PFAS story while we're talking about forever chemicals. I was reading a terrifying article about this, and a woman who worked at, was it 3M? I feel like it's 3M is the company. 3M, listen, if it's not you, I'm sorry, kind of. I think it's 3M. The woman who was working there, she was a chemist and was sort of like one of the early canary in the coal mines about like, this is maybe bad and it's ending up in everyone's blood. So she was analyzing all these blood samples of people who worked at the plant and people who worked nearby, and every single one of them was turning up positive for having like microplastics or forever chemicals or whatever in their blood. And so her coworkers, you know, this was also, I think it was like the 70s too. No. So there's like an element of misogyny, and they're just like, this dumb woman is telling us to stop doing science.
She's being uppity.
Yeah, exactly. So one of her superiors was like, hey, will you analyze this blood sample and see if with your little test there? Oh. And she tested it and was like, yeah, this has PFAS too. And he's like, well, you're an idiot because that's blood from my horse, and I live like miles away. And they all laughed at her.
Uh-oh.
But it turns out that there was PFAS in the horse because it's in like every organic being on the planet now. But I always think that's like, if you ever feel like, I don't know, if you ever like do good work and people are like, you're an idiot, just know that like, I don't know. That story gives me heart whenever I feel like I'm in the right and the world is like, you're a fool for doing what you're doing. I'm like, well, maybe I'm just ahead of the curve, like that PFAS lady.
It also sounds like a great opening 5 minutes to like a horror movie. Like
Yes.
Like, ha 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 ha. They're all laughing at her and she's like sad. And then like it zooms in on the thing and it's like the horse's eye and then it shuts the black and you're like, oh no, it's in everything. Or the end of a movie, in fact. It could also.
Yeah, the boss who did that to her ends up having like a chest burster 35 minutes into the movie.
It's just a big like, what did 3M make? Like a big, whiteboard that sticks directly to the wall just bursts out of his chest. Or maybe all the people who work at the factory just start sticking to walls. They just can't seem to. They're like, we're fastened amazingly. It's incredible how much strength this is, but I can't get down.
I love it.
Something like that. I'm full of dad jokes at the moment because we just spent the weekend at PAX and I was with my daughter for the whole thing. Very different PAX experience. Myself and Frank are going to be talking about our time at Penny Arcade Expo. I'm going to talk about some of the games we played there. Jeremy's got an indie game we played this week. Jesse, as we said, he was going to talk about PoE 2 a little bit, I think, more, but then he realized he had an appointment, so we had to head out. But yeah, loads to talk about. And we're also going to talk about all the games coming out between now and the rest of the year. Well, maybe not all the games, but like the games we know about that are coming out between now and the end of the year. Because we're kind of entering silly season. It is September. It is the month of our birthday as well, September 12th. Never forget. Is Noclip's birthday. We're excited to celebrate it next week. It'll actually be on the next podcast. It'll be our birthday, so that'll be pretty cool. But yeah, none of this. We're turning 9 years old, so we're entering our 10th year technically, because 0 is a year. I guess math is hard. But none of this would be possible. But our incredible patrons over at patreon.com/Noclip, including our beautiful Battle Pass holders, Lovepreet, Yash, Dwayne the Rock Lobster, Anthony Thomas, Nico Passateri, It's a Me Ferrario, Senator Armstrong, Redredge, Harry Flanagan, Juice, Arno, Matt Pearson, James Brown, Mark Rojas, Copernicus, Quote, Tucker Morgan, Goddison, Sven Huster, Pez, John Akers, Ewan Nate, Tim Robinson, Forrest Pruitt, Jonathan Kremen, Eric Hamilton Schneider, Christoph Fatui, Cameron Ladd. Shout out to everyone who saw the hidden Cameron Ladd on the poster for our PAX panel. There was one in there. Zachary Snyder, Alex Goucher, George Sikotis, Jacob Godserve, Entheogen, James Med, Tohir Tiliev, and Ryson. Thank you all so much for supporting us. You crazy kids. We love you. We met lots of you at the PAX panel as well. And at PAX in general. Lots of patrons around. We had patrons showing off games. There was patrons playing games. There was folks hanging out at the PAX panel. There was folks who didn't realize it was a PAX panel, which is great because we filled the room. So they did actually end up turning some people away. So we were not happy about that, but otherwise it was a pretty great show. Frank, let's start with you. Your PAX. How was your PAX experience? You arrived on Friday and left on Sunday. First of all, actually, no, I'm taking it back. How are you feeling? Because like when we started the PAX panel, it was at 5 p.m. on Saturday. And it was only then that I realized that you were still on Japan time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I woke up at 2 a.m. the day of our PAX panel because I couldn't sleep. So, I got some reading done in my hotel room and all that. Yeah, it was again, like I went to Japan for like 11 days, came back, did a few days of streaming, Noclip stuff, and then immediately went to Seattle. So Seattle felt like a blur. It felt like I don't know. It felt like such a quick thing. I was very honored and happy to go. I actually changed my flight. I got in like Thursday night at midnight. My friends and I in Seattle, we went to a round one. So I filmed a bunch of like DDR and Beatmania footage. Again, the secret, go to any round one after midnight, the arcade is empty. So it was like three of my friends had this entire arcade ourselves. We played a bunch of DDR.
What time did they close?
They close at 2, but it really is like once they kick everyone at midnight, the employees start doing inventory. Like they're shutting, they mop the bowling alley. So like they start shutting down services, but the DDR machines are in top condition. And then yeah, Friday was the good day to go roam around PAX because I was blown away how packed Saturday was. There was kind of an effect with PAX, like once COVID happened, it took a few years for PAX to bounce back, and it felt like this was the year where finally it's like, oh my God, people are fully like it's kind of back now. But Friday I got to roam around, and there were a few cool indie games I saw and like noted down on the wish list so I could sound the alarm once they close to coming out. There was one game I think called Mr. Sleepy.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to play it. I was trying to queue up for it, but it was pretty packed.
that felt like a very like N64, very silly, really cool, unique art style. Yeah, Mr. Sleepy Man, that looks really cool. So I played that a bit, and that was really fun. But yeah, roamed around, checked everything out, and then yeah, my plan kind of with PAX is I know all conventions have an arcade free play room, and sure enough, there was a Dance Dance Revolution cabinet at the PAX free play area. So the rest of my PAX was just me and my friends just hanging out there, and I got so much footage. And conveniently, one floor away from the DDR machine was the Red Bull Creators Club, which if you had like a media badge or anything, you just had 24/7, well, not, daily access to a fridge of Red Bull. So I don't think anyone else did the convention like I did. Play DDR, take a break, get a free Red Bull, come back. And it was just, I would play DDR, get a Red Bull, play DDR, so it was the insanity where like I pushed past any sense of reasonable like energy limit because I just had infinite Red Bull. So now when I came back, I am like crashed. I have a sore throat, all that. But I had a lot of fun.
He's got the PAX Pox.
I finally caught it, which I'm thankful I didn't get sick in Japan. I didn't get sick. It was like at the airport or like once I landed, I felt the small tickle in my throat and I was like, oh crap, damn it.
I'm waiting right now because I know also like COVID rates have gone up a bunch in the past month or so. I have a friend who works as a nurse in a hospital as well. And she was like, oh yeah, it's like there's loads of folks. I have a friend whose kid was in school with my kid for a while. They all have it. So, there was a sort of a decent amount of people. I feel like PAX is a place where a lot of people wear masks anyway, which makes complete sense, but it felt like it was the one time in the past few years I was like, I wonder. So I'm kind of waiting now to see if me or my wife and daughter came as well. But yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed everyone at PAX did all right. Those big rooms, maybe it's not as stuffed.
I'm pretty sure I caught it. Saturday night, we went to a wrestling show that was held in a bar. And I'm like, oh, that's 10,000% where I got it. So
yeah, you just have a sore throat though. You're all right, eh?
Yeah, it's not like brutal. It's not because like when you have COVID, your voice is like mangled. It's like, oh yeah, it can. But yeah, so it's like I do have the test. I should test. But yeah, yesterday was pretty bad, and like usually it'll travel up to my sinuses. But it's like okay, again, my throat is layered with like cough drops and syrup. So
and Red Bull.
Yeah. But that's good though. I'm home. I'm actually drinking water for the first time in like a week. I will say like Seattle compared to Tokyo sucks because there's not a conveni every corner.
Right,
yeah. It's true. It also there's very few quick food options in Seattle. It's all like very expensive restaurants.
That downtown area for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like spoiled. I was so used to like in Tokyo, just any time of the night being able to get like chicken or whatever I wanted. Whereas in Seattle, it was like, oh man. Thankfully, the convention itself had like cheap pizza and like again not healthy food. But I'm recovering this week.
Nice one. Yeah. It was funny. It was like super busy. Saturday was like rammed busy, and then Sunday you didn't go in Sunday. Sunday was like crazy quiet again. Like it seems like Friday maybe was busier than Sunday even was, and then Monday was pretty much like Sunday. So it was funny how much of a drop off there was between Saturday and Sunday. Did you have fun at our panel? I mean, you were able to muster up enough energy for it. Apologies for anyone who was at our panel. We're probably going to thread some common ground on this one with stuff that we did. I already mentioned that the panel, my greatest achievement there was they have this steel battalion room. It's kind of like a PAX tradition. There's just like this one crew of psychopaths. We should like do a doc on them. That would be great. I think they've done like every PAX for the past 10 or 15 years. They always have a steel battalion room. I feel like most people who listen to this podcast know what Steel Battalion is, but just in case you don't, original Xbox like mech fighting game, popular multiplayer component to it. You could hook up 8 local Xboxes and play it. If somehow you had 7 friends who also liked Steel Battalion. But the weirdest thing about the original Steel Battalion is that they released this like $200 controller for this relatively obscure mech game on a new console, which not many people were adopting. This very specific controller, which has like 50 buttons, has like 2 control surfaces, has all of these dials and toggles, so you can play this mech game. And then also has the coolest save game system of all time, which is a little toggle flip, like a toggle red button that glows you have to hit, that's under like a protective, plastic cover that you have to flick up first, which ejects your pilot. If you don't eject your pilot in time, they get killed in the game and your profile in the game gets destroyed. The game erases your profile. You start from scratch. If you do eject in a multiplayer game, you actually get to respawn as well, which is pretty cool.
I love that so much. I feel like more games need to do unconventional. Like someone needs to do like a cryptocurrency wallet equivalent of a save system, where you have like a USB stick that you have to carry around for some reason on your person in your day-to-day life.
Kojima famously wanted to do a game like that, right? He was like a game that like deleted your save game, but like literally Steel Battalion does that, and it's like it's so awesome. It's like it adds this layer of dread to everything, and like the big flashing red button. But I think I played Steel Battalion once. Like I played the 360 one a bunch. I remember because that had like it was like Kinect support or something. I forget. There was some weird thing with that 360 one. I think it was Kinect. Yeah, it was. But I played the original like a long time ago with a pad for like 5 minutes, so I'd never really played it. And so we were walking past the room, and I was with my wife and my daughter, and I was like, "Oh, let me just show you this crazy thing. It's this weird controller," and we will go in for 2 seconds or whatever. And then as we do, they're starting a game. There's one place left, and there's no one else there. So I'm like, and they're like, "Yeah, go ahead." So I played Steel Battalion and I fucking destroyed everyone. I won the tournament. I had 5 kills and I got killed right at the end, but I just kept picking off people that were in duels. I killed the first one and then I just like booked it over to, you set your gears, you've gears and you go super high. When you hit 5th gear, you're just like fucking, Naruto running across the field, like afterburning across the desert to the other ones. And then I would find 2 other people fighting and just pick on one of them and then hope that when that one died, the other one was also pretty banged up and I'd hit them. And I felt so good, man. I was like, that is peak PAX for me, is winning a Steel Battalion LAN in front of my wife and kid. I was like, they do not care about this game. I feel like they would be proud if they were different people. So that's good enough for me. So they were like, yay, good job. Like you won this weird game with people who've never played it before as well. So it's not like, not like you're going pro at this.
That'll be a great grandpa story someday. You know what I mean? Like that's a dad moment, but that's a grandpa story.
100%. Back in the war, when I was like, I'll think it was
I controlled real mechs somewhere in the world.
If I didn't eject, you wouldn't be here today.
They would stand there with guns and kill you if you didn't eject.
You had to press lots of buttons on the menu to get into the game. And the guys, it was really cool. I love the crew who does that, because it's just like they're giving like what a weird, like it's in the spirit of Steel Battalion. Like Steel Battalion is sort of like it's in one way a meme game. Like people really like it, and it is a good game and it has this hardcore following. But it also is this sort of like thing that will never die, because we've all decided as a society that it is cool and it cannot die. So it still has a room at PAX for some reason.
They at the Video Game History Museum when we used to go, they had a Steel Battalion set up that was in like it was like a vault or something. What was that giant metal case?
It's like a diving bell or something, wasn't it? That you got into and
it's like a diving bell.
And then
it was huge.
It was really big. And then apparently it's still. I asked Safaldi because he was at our panel, and it's at the new location still apparently.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and wasn't there something with that one where like you could have somebody on the outside talking, like giving you strategy or something? Like they had a radio.
Yeah, there was something like that. Yeah.
I forget what it was, but you couldn't see each other or see the same screens or something.
That's awesome. I love that.
Just because like having the controller is not nerdy enough. You need to take it like another step forward.
Before you continue, PAX, you reminded me with the Steel Battalion stuff with the eject button of I was talking to Jesse over the weekend about this. I've been learning wood frame house construction. Nice. And so I was reading the ICC, like the International Building Code recently. And in 2021, there's like the ICC has like patch notes where they're like, we've updated the building code. Here's we've nerfed nails by 20%. In 2021, they added a provision for puzzle rooms, like escape rooms.
Oh.
Because they need special rules for like fire escape situations. And I was laughing so hard imagining you're in like a puzzle room and they're like, there's a fire. Attention, there's a real fire. And you're like, oh, did you check under the drawer? And it's like, no, dude, we need to like get the fuck out of here. Yeah, like, I was just imagining you're trying to solve the puzzle and now the stakes are life or death.
Yeah, exactly. That is a good point. Like, have you ever done an escape room? Did they have to tell you that sort of stuff?
I've never done one. Jesse used to work at one. We'll have to ask him.
Oh yeah, of course. He's the perfect person to talk about this. I was at a Conor. I don't want to ruin. I was at a Conor O'Malley gig in San Francisco a few months ago, and it was absolutely brilliant. It was one of the best stand-up ones I've ever seen. But he had a whole bit, and I don't want to. So if you're going to see Conor O'Malley, don't listen to this. He had a whole bit where they stopped. You know, he's like very fourth wall breaking with his comedy. So like somebody from the theater shouts up like, "Oh, you have to do the thing," and he's like, "Do I really have to do it?" Okay. And they go, instead of a fire drill, he does like a 15-minute bit that's basically what happens in an active fire, like an active firing situation in a comedy club. Like he's like, so no one's coming in to shoot you all, but like we have to go through and like the tension in the air. It was so like it felt very like nervous and weird and fucked and hilarious because some of the people maybe didn't know like what Conor O'Malley's thing is like, and then he like a presentation comes down and everything. It was active shooter in a comedy club. Drill was basically what he was going through.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. Super absurd.
That's awesome. Conor O'Malley's the best.
Yeah, that guy's they broke the mold when they made him. Trying to think other things, non-game things I did at PAX. I went to one of those. I bought these ducks. They were selling ducks of video game characters. So I got Majima and I got Dark Souls man. What do we call Dark Souls man?
I don't know. I don't know if he has a name. Like just the protagonist, or like the Hollow, I guess. But that's not accurate because you can be unhollow.
I got my Solid Snake here, so that was what I got myself. My daughter was just like covered in handouts for every single game. She kept winning pins at stuff. My experience of PAX has never been like this, but like she did all the photo ops, which of course she's 7 and she was at a gaming thing and she doesn't want to really play anything. She played some games. She played this little game about a corgi that she really loved. And then there was a family gaming room where they had a bunch of just PC set or computers and consoles and PCs and everything set up to let people just chill out and relax and play games that are good for kids. And she was playing this Little Gator game, I think it is, on PlayStation, and she really liked it. So we're going to download that here. But yes, so I have pictures of her like climbing the peak thing that was in the aforementioned Red Bull Creator Lounge. And we got a picture with a mind flare from Baldur's Gate 3. It's like the three of us. And the mind flare was really nice to her because like it's freaky looking, right? And she's 7. And she's like, "Will you do it with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And he was like, "Do you want me to do some magic?" He like had a voice and everything. It was really good. And like did like a little magic trick with her, which was cute. And I'm thinking about all the mind flare fucked up stuff that happens in Baldur's Gate 3. Is it Dawnbreaker Blood of the thing? What the fuck is the name of that? CD Projekt, ex-CD Projekt. Is it? No. What the fuck is that game called? Sorry, everyone's screaming at their podcasts again. It's like set in Europe, but it's like vampire stuff. They put out a trailer last year.
I can't remember the name.
I can't remember
exactly
the name of it. I know.
About,
it has one of those names that I think when it came out, I was like, I'm never going to remember this. That game that looks pretty great. They had like a thing. They said, "Do you want to sacrifice your child?" And she was like, "Yeah, let's sacrifice me." And then there was like a little blood cauldron thing where you take pictures, but you do all this stuff and they just give you pins and stuff. So she was just like, she had a million like little. I had to sign up to a bunch of things and for her to get them. Like she won an Alienware plushie. She has an Alienware plushie now, so
it's the Blood of Dawnwalker. Is that right?
There you go. It's like Mad Libs. I was almost there. Just had to mix it. The blood of the Dawnwalker. Is it the Blood of Dawnwalker?
I think it's the Blood of Dawnwalker. I don't even think there's a second "the" in there.
I don't like that name.
There's a Marlon Brando film about the dock workers. Is that what the Blood of
the dock workers?
I hope Marlon Brando's not in this. It probably cost them $5 million for 5 minutes, like in Superman 1. Yeah, the Blood of, is that what it is? Yeah, Rebel Wolves. Yeah, that's it. Blood. I don't like that name. It's fine though. It's like, I bet we felt that way about The Witcher or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Probably not. That's 2 words. And one of them's the.
I had a game title Mandela effect moment with In the Valley of Gods,
yes.
The Camposanto game.
Yeah.
I thought it was In the Valley of the Gods.
So did I.
For years now,
yeah.
And I had to reference it the other day, and it's in the Valley of Gods.
In the Valley of God. I thought it was in the Valley of the Gods too.
I had a real Fruit of the Loom logo moment with this shit.
Yeah, Bernstein Bears in the Valley of Gods. Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, well, this game's never coming out anyway, so
yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah,
I'll never have to refer to it except to say that I'll never play it.
I was having drinks with one of the people who made that game on Saturday night, and I can tell you,
really?
That game is never coming out.
Damn.
Yeah. It was kind of fun. I caught up with a load of people. The whole time I was there, it was it was fun bumping into folks like you don't see very often, all that sort of stuff. I want to talk about some of that in a second with the video game stuff, because one of those was a game that we did a documentary on. But first, I want to do actually one thing that was funny was Woosh, who is the guy who picks up. He's like Balatro's lead guy at PlayStack. He's the guy who like had to go up a million times and collect all the prizes, all the awards on behalf of local thunk. I walked into our hotel and he was right there and he was like, "Oh, hi, Danny." And I was like, "Oh, hey, what's going on? Welcome to PAX." It was just like constant bumping into people. There was like a Valve indie meetup as well in our hotel lobby at one stage. My wife was having lunch there. I was back at PAX. She was like, "There's this whole thing going on here. Do you want to come back?" And it was just cool. It was the whole weekend was really fun. I did buy two obscure games at a video game store that I saw. I think neither of these games got European releases, which is why I'd never heard of either of them. One of them is called, have you guys ever played The Plan? Or seen The Plan? Frank?
No, that looks cool. What is it?
The Plan with like a backwards E, like a 3 almost, like it's the third plan. I don't know if it is. I think The Plan has 3 parts. The Heist, The Betrayal, The Revenge is a PlayStation 2 game. Somebody's going to pay. When a band of thieves conspire to steal 2 Rembrandt paintings in exchange for a valuable diamond, one member succumbs to greed and betrays the rest. The person left behind has had 5 years to plan his revenge. Now you'll have to mastermind his escape from prison. Take control of up to 3 players simultaneously from 3 perspectives. Wow, they did GTA 5 before GTA did. Your missions will call upon your ingenuity and stealth. Pick locks and pockets, take photos, shut down surveillance, hack computers, and create diversions using a variety of high-tech gadgets, like Oceans or something. You'll need to watch your back if you're to see if there really is honor among thieves. And it says, an excellent addition to the PlayStation 2's lineup from worthplaying.com. So there you go. Check it out now. It's from, I don't know who made it. It says Monte Cristo Games, is that right? 1 to 3 players. The Plan. If anyone's ever played The Plan, please mention it on the Noclip Discord or in the comments. And the other one I got was Saturday Night Speedway.
Whoa, that looks cool.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, Frank is enjoying the midriff that is on this.
Does it say Rat Bag Games at the bottom?
It actually does say Rat Bag Games.
That's awesome.
It's an Atari joint, Rat Bag Games. Wow. Of course, this is just a regular racing game about Saturday Night Speedways, which I go to Saturday Night Speedway all the time now in Petaluma. So I was like, I want to play this. But it does have, of course, because this is a PlayStation 2 game, the logo of the game is on a lady's shirt, and she is showing her midriff, her toned midriff with a, I think that's a car key belly button ring, which just seems like the Xenobites would love to pull on that one. Bash vendors in pro stock races plow through packs of late models or kick up the mud in open wheel midgets. It's 3 styles. That is a class of car. I just want to say, it's probably based on it. It doesn't really matter, I guess, but it has a proper noun as well, according to the back of this box. So there you go. It's 3 styles of all-out racing on a variety of high-speed dirt tracks. Hit the gas and fire to the front. So I want to play and record both these games. I might do it on Noclip 2 or something. It seems pretty stupid.
I'm looking up if they've determined a new name for that style of car.
No, I can tell you they haven't, because I go to a speedway every other weekend, and let me tell you, they don't.
I feel like the car community is probably last to update the nomenclature. If I were to guess, it's probably in the bottom tier of people that are really into cars are probably pretty late to update the terminology.
I would assume, I don't know the etymology of that word. Not that matters, but I would assume that it was around people. Like that, it wasn't just. I've never heard it used in any other context except racing, which I hear twice a week. It is a bit weird though. It's like I don't know. It's like if there was I'm not going to do it. You can. You
can connect to the dots on this one.
Yeah. So
dear listener,
it is a bit. That is true. Video games I played though. Can I tell you about some of them?
Absolutely.
Valor Mortis. I got to play this. Have you guys seen this? This is made big waves at Gamescom. I had an appointment to play it. It's made from One More Level Games, who are based, I believe, in Krakow in Poland. It is a first-person Souls-like sword fighting game set in during the Napoleonic Wars, from the folks who made Ghost Runner, and it is fucking good. You play as an English, foreign legionnaire, basically, who was joined up with the Napoleonic endeavor during the game starts, and basically there has been a horrendous battle / massacre. Pretty much you're just surrounded by dead Napoleonic troops and presumably whoever else they were fighting. And the game is first person. You have a sword. The sword has a parry. You can do light attacks and heavy attacks. At a certain point, you pick up a gun, but it's not used to parry. It's used to shoot sort of like shoot its weak point for massive damage, like big glowing orange things that are on enemies. And the enemies can hurt you pretty fast. There is lanterns that when you get to them, you spend your Napoleon bucks or whatever to upgrade your character. Like, it is unashamedly a Souls-like game in the vein of something like Bloodborne. I think it opens up a bit more in later levels. They were saying obviously the part that I played was the start of the game and fairly linear, but even so, there was like an enemy that I met at the start that was clearly way too difficult for me. I tried to beat them and couldn't. The demo itself ended with a boss fight that was pretty gnarly and intense. I got it down to half health on. No, I didn't actually. Not even on the second. It had a second phase. The first phase was easy enough. I completed it first time, but the second phase was super challenging. I think they said only 3 people all weekend had done it, so I was really trying to do it, but I ran out of time. Yeah, it looks gorgeous. It has a really good visual style to it, which I'm not surprised considering these are the Ghost Runner folks. And the audio direction was particularly notable. Like Napoleon's like speaking to you in your head, and the first syllable of every sentence comes out of one ear and the rest came out of the other, which really fucked with me. And yeah, a lot of the visual, the audio with the weird sort of it has this like supernatural feel to it, and by the end of the demo that I played, which was about 30 minutes, I was even able to use fire spells on people and stuff like that. But yeah, a real good sort of combat chess feel to the whole thing. When you should parry, who you should attack, what order you should get people in. And I just loved the vibes of it. It was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I looked at this when you put this in the pod doc yesterday. I watched the whole trailer. I'm always like, first person melee combat is such a difficult thing to make satisfying. So when I hear first person Souls, I'm immediately very skeptical, but I was won over by the trailer I watched of this. It looks great. Yeah,
they have like a dodge in there as well. The parry windows are you can never tell if they're tuning this stuff easy as well for shows, which I suspect, I got to the first, it was not particularly hard. Same thing, if you die, you drop all your whatevers and then you can pick them up again next time through. But yeah, the parry windows felt very... actually, what I will say is one of the things I think that sucks the most with first person stuff is that you always have to have... The camera needs to be facing the enemy. And one of the things in Souls-like games is that you can sort of have multiple people and kite them around and dodge and do all that sort of stuff. You can still lock on to one person in this and circle them, kind of like you can in other Souls-like games. But at least in this one, what I found interesting was that they were designing the levels in a way where it was sort of, even when ones came out of nowhere, which is a sort of another trope of the genre, right, is that you walk in an area and there was one hiding behind the door and now you'll know every time that they're there. Even when they did that, it was sort of taking into account the placement of the camera. Like it just felt really well designed. Like it sounds like they're going to have a game. They've worked really hard on the start of the game. They said they have basically the start from the finish kind of in grey box at least, or close to it. Now they think it's going to be around 15 to 20 hours, which is pretty good. And I assume some of that is replaying levels because it's one of these types of games. But yeah, I was wholly won over. Like after I understood immediately why people were talking about it at Gamescom. Like this will be a game when it comes out, loads of people will play. So yeah, I think it feels if they manage to keep it as interesting and the combat as novel and cool as the demo, they're in for a good shout. There was one part as well where I was walking through a sort of a more open landscape of bodies and stuff, and there was a couple of places you could go, and I stayed enough to the critical path. At one stage I looked over to the left and there was like this absolutely horrendous looking like spider man who was made of different body parts and stuff. Like they're doing all that stuff really well. Like the final boss you fight is grotesque. And then there's another guy I fought who was completely clean, like more on the, like Elden Ring has your sort of your millennia looking, or what's her name? Millennia. What is it? How do you say her last name? Whatever.
It is
whatever. Is
Millennia.
It's just now I'm thinking of Millennium, like the fucking Will Smith song or something, or Will Smith song, the Robbie Williams song. Whatever her name is, like really polished looking, clean lines, beautiful costume, that type of thing. And then also your sort of grotesque, weird shit as well. Like this game has both was showing off both really well. So yeah, Valor Mortis, it's called. VALOR Mortis. First person Souls like. Super good. Any questions about it? Or you you got it?
It looks awesome. I am a big Souls fan, and I also, like, so many times on this podcast we've talked about time periods and like historical events that haven't been covered in games, and I feel like I don't know if I've ever played like a Napoleonic War. And there's like the Napoleon Total War games, but other than that, I don't think there's a lot of Napoleonic games, are there?
No, I'm trying to think even visually, like I guess the Order 1886, whatever, that had that sort of look to it, I feel like. But yeah, I don't know if this is, this has like its own thing going on too. Like the Napoleonic aspect of it is sort of one layer, and then there is this very, I don't know what you'd even call it, PTSD imbued hyper reality on top of it. It's pretty gnarly. It's pretty cool. I like it. And you're sort of a fish out of water in a way because you're an English troop who doesn't speak French very well in a fighting for a foreign legion, as it were. So yeah. Looks pretty nasty. Looks pretty good. Valor Mortis. Quickly, I want to mention Ambrosia Sky. I played that yesterday. I think I played what was the demo they had up for Summer Games Fest, which I believe is now available again. Yes, it is. So this is the... I think the way they pitched it was that it was like Power Washing Simulator meets Metroid Prime, which after I played it was pretty decent as a way of capturing it. Essentially, you play a character who is a deep space disaster specialist. So you go into ship, and then ship is full of nasty crud and weird goop and stuff, and you have a gun that fires kind of water and other stuff, and you can use it to solve puzzles and get through the spaceship. So it's not just like you're cleaning for the sake of it. It's not like Viscera cleanup detail or something like that. You're using it to basically like path your way through. Then there's like puzzles within within those areas. There's pickups. There's logs and stuff for the story aspects of it. It's got a really interesting look to it. The key art is straight out of what was the name of that MTV show where with the lady who blinks and catches the eye. I keep thinking Aphex Twin, but it's not obviously not Aphex Twin. It's I think my brain is going. I can't think of any references anymore.
It's like that thing.
I might have dementia or something. I don't know. What the fuck is Aeon Flux? There we go. Aeon Flux. I got it. It came eventually. Aeon Flux. Got an Aeon Flux looking ass key art. And the graphics themselves are pretty out there. It's pretty wild looking. Yeah, I liked the demo. It was fun. You had to get in and get out when you got the final thing. You had to rush out of there. before it all went to shit. The demo's available now. I assume that's what I played. It was the first level or so. But yeah, it was pretty neat looking, and I think it's coming out later this year. So one to keep an eye on.
Very cool. It reminds me a little bit of Prey as well. I don't know if you said Prey in the touchstones there of games you've listed off, but that's what it reminds me of.
It's very systemic. Yeah. It's very like plug this into this, try this with this, water, electricity, doing this thing, turn the gravity on, turn the gravity off. At least, in the first level, there's a lot of that. So I suspect it gets increasingly that way. There was no enemies I was fighting, it was just like the goop was the enemy. So I'm not sure if that continues to be the case. Like you could get hurt by it if you didn't like some of it grows back quickly in a certain way. So you have to sort of anticipate and stuff like that. But yeah, Ambrosia Sky, worth a wish list for sure. And then the last thing I played was Starseeker from our good friends at System Era, who of course made Astroneer. This is the latest game from them. I got to talk to Adam Brommel, who was there. He's the lead. I don't know what they got. He's the guy head of studio, I guess. I know now they're owned by Devolver Digital, of course. That buyout happened, I think, last year. He showed me a version of this years ago when they were during COVID, when they were spitballing what they were going to do next. He kind of gave me the pitch deck on it, and it's landed pretty close to what he was talking about. Basically, this is not an Astroneer game. So Astroneer is very much a survival crafting game where you are trying to expand your base on a planet, procedurally generated planets, playing co-op with lots of people, that type of stuff. Starseeker, the subtitle on it is Astroneer Expeditions. I think the reason for that is because it shares a very similar art style, and I suspect they want, Astroneer is a very popular game, and they could have easily done Astroneer 2, as Adam was telling me, but they wanted to do something that was interesting and was a different genre to what they're used to, and I suspect they're keeping Astroneer in the name to, make that connection for fans of Astroneer easy. But this is not an Astroneer game. This is very different. So the meta layer of this game, and it sounds like this game was in development while Helldivers 2 came out. So I think there's some stuff that they had here that also appeared in Helldivers, because I got pitched on all this stuff years before Helldivers came out too. But basically what it is there's a space station called the Starseeker. They want something like 100 players to be able to live in that hub, to be in that hub, and sort of it's full of screens and of live play, and you're going to be kind of like in Helldivers, I guess, where there's a sort of a global thing, a global mission that you're trying to achieve. That's all going to happen there, but that layer of the game was not in the demo. This is just something he was talking to me about as well. The game itself, though, is you basically get sort of, your starship is in a galaxy, you get shot down to a planet, and then the planet is the same planet. It's not procedurally generated. It is a planet, and on that planet you are getting quests. So it's very different to Astroneer. You can play with up to 4 people. The weapons that you have are not really weapons, because Astroneer is sort of a non-combat game as well. They're probably trying to get that E10 plus or whatever. But they are each character had a different thing. One could everyone could bury into the ground. I had one where it was basically like a gun that was almost like the gravity gun second button, where I could just yeet people or push things away. There was another one that was able to make blocks of earth in front of a person. There's climbing like Zelda. There's when you jump off stuff, you can glide. Little wings, Buzz Lightyear wings come out of you, and you can glide down. And the quest that you were given in this demo was basically to go and get this MacGuffin, this little radar thing, and then to bring it above 200 feet. So to do that, we had to go down into a valley where there was an enemy, get this thing, try and escape the enemy or destroy it. There was only 2 of us playing the demo, so we didn't try and fight it. And then basically carry this thing up high enough. So, but to do that, you were basically it's hard to climb if you're carrying it. You can't really jump as well. So the other person has to basically dig through the terrain, terraform you up there. And then it was just like super systemic and fun. Like that's what they do at System Era. Like Astroneer is a very systems heavy game. You mentioned Prey before. Like these games are massively into that type of emergent sim stuff. And it was the same in this, where like, you know, different systems of different animals and planets or plants and the different objects that we had and the weaponry that we had. And it was making all of these crazy sort of events happen. So the mission was pretty simplistic, but the sort of japes and nonsense that happened on the way was a lot of fun. So they're aiming this to be similar thing to Astroneer in a way in that you play with mates. Like it's you can play up to 4 people, I believe, in those levels. And then this was the first time they've shown gameplay and it was playable. And I suspect that they're going to be peeling the layers off of the sort of space station aspect of this in the future. It's got a 2026 release date, apparently, according to Steam at least. And yeah, it was a pretty tight experience from what I saw, and I'm excited to see more of it, but it looks promising.
Yeah, it's very cool. Astroneer was a game that it didn't super catch with me, but I have always really appreciated sort of the technical prowess that has gone into it. The like marching cube deformation stuff. There's some I can't remember if I watched these when I was doing marching cube stuff myself or when we were doing the Astroneer doc, but there's some super, super early videos of Adam and the original crew working on just like dashing together sort of like the tech demo for it. And you can like instantly tell in those early videos with no like textures and no anything that it's immensely, you know, like impressive technologically, just kind of like in its bare bone state. So I've always sort of admired their like, you know, the ambition to do things that are not just like, oh, this is like a fun game, but also this is like a crazy engineering project behind the scenes.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm excited to see, the space station stuff as much as possible, because I think the idea is that you're going to be like unlocking planets, like planets are going to unlock and I kind of like the idea that they're not procedure generated. They're also bigger than the Astroneer planets. Like you can still see that curved horizon, which is very Astroneer, but it was much bigger. But I like the idea that it's like level mastery can now happen, right? Like it's every time you go down, the planet resets effectively, right? And I thought that was cool. But what I also like is just how far into the systemic stuff that it seems like they're going to do. Like I only played one demo, so it was hard to tell. But like for instance, one of the things I saw where there was these little like carrots, like carrot creatures that were around the planet, and you could like anything in the game, you could pick it up, you could, you know, throw it, you could do lots of stuff. And Adam was saying like, oh yeah, those things, like if you mess with them too much, they get angry and they start chasing after you. But also you can like feed them to, like I fed one to, he said you can use them to like distract other enemies and things like that, or you can get them hassled and then yeet them in there so that they end up disturbing an enemy and taking their, you know, or doing whatever. But then I just picked one up and there was like a Venus flytrap looking thing, so I just went over to it and I was like, I wonder if I can feed it to this thing. There was literally a button that said feed, and I fed it and I got clean bones from the Venus flytrap. So yeah, I'm excited just to see how deep they go with all that stuff and yeah, how technically interesting all the stuff on the space station gets. So yeah, it could be a good, it's a game that I've been following for a long time, and I know Adam and the studio pretty well, so I wonder if it's something we could get some cool preview stuff on actually over on Noclip too. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. Yeah, so Astroneer, Starseeker, Astroneer Expeditions, if you're interested. Release date apparently 2026. Let's see. It was also weird seeing them with like a huge booth because like Devolver now backed them, so they had like a big booth with a bunch of Devolver people helping and stuff. Massive line though as well. So, you know, I'm with you, Jeremy. Like I think I love Astroneer as I don't play a lot of those types of games. I sort of admire it a lot from afar. But I've always also admired the community and the like people love that game. Like and also like a lot of younger people love that game. Like it's cool. They've really carved out a really awesome community with that thing. So yeah, hopefully they'll make that jump over if that game is interesting to them. Jeremy, you've played at least one indie game, possibly two. We can talk about.
The second one is not an indie game, but maybe we'll get to it.
Oh, the second one's wPlace. You've been messing around with wPlace?
A little bit. I have a very specific thing that you reminded me of earlier, but
let's start with that.
Yeah.
Let's make time for it. Let's make time for it.
Okay, so when you were mentioning running into someone affiliated with Balatro, it reminded me, it brought it all rushing back that weeks ago I was looking at wPlace and drew a bunch of pixel art on there. wPlace, for people who haven't seen it, is a giant, it's Google Maps of the whole world, but people can do pixel art over it. The whole world is sort of like split up into an invisible grid of pixels, and it is a, you know, global collaborative art project where people can draw pixel art. You know, sometimes this results in people going like, oh, let me find my house and draw like a little guy from Pokemon. Sometimes it results in people drawing, you know, like hate symbols or weird shit. It is, as with any sort of like public thing, it's some people treat the graffiti wall as a place for public expression, and some people treat it as a place for throwing ideological trash. So it's a mixed bag with any of this stuff, but it has been sort of like endless for like the first couple of weeks that it was popping up. It was endlessly fascinating to me because it's just like, you know, it was 80% Deltarune art, but the remainder.
I think that's what I love about it. You can go anywhere in the world. Like I've been back to my hometown. It's like just covered in like anime. Like it's always anime, like Free Palestine and like Ghost in a Shell and like that's. There's a Disco Elysium Kim picture here. Like,
nice.
You know, the gamers are out there. That's what I like about it, because like it's not like when you go to my hometown. Well, the pro-Palestinian stuff is for sure a big thing in my hometown, but it's not like it's full of anime lovers. You know what I mean? But maybe it is. But they're the ones that are on here, obviously using wPlace.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously anyone can draw anywhere. It's not like geolocation locked. So, you know, there are places where it's like you'll see a place called, you know, whatever, Chicken Island, and then a bunch of people draw chickens or whatever. It's clear that they just like word searched a word and drew the thing. But then it's also interesting where like you'll go to Boston, which it has a, you know, historically Irish American population, and there's a ton of things that are like up the rod, like Sorshadon Philistine and stuff. Which is like, it's interesting to see sort of like cultural emergences tied that are like actually have sort of historical roots in these areas.
Right.
But the reason I wanted to bring it up is this is such a throwaway thing, but I thought it was so bizarre. Something I saw an absurd amount of was Balatro erotica.
Oh, really?
Jokers from Balatro, but as pornography, this was not invented for wPlace. This is on the internet. I was just shocked at the conversion rate of people who were like, oh, a global pixel art arena, let me draw a sexy clown from Balatro.
I didn't think I'd seen any Balatro fanfic anywhere.
Frank is nodding. Frank, back me up on this.
What you got, Frank? Tell us.
No, yeah, as I was scrolling around Las Vegas, I did see Balatro stuff. But also, as someone who's like very familiar with ICP, I'm very used to the cross section of like sexy clown girls.
I was going to say the ICP connection.
I'm well aware.
Yeah,
I'm well aware.
Yeah, it's not new territory, the sexy clown thing. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else I saw. It was cool to see, you know, like I'm in northern Massachusetts. It was cool to scroll up and see like a huge Signalis banner over Maine and stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome. You love to see
it. It's cool. I mean, you know, it's like it's a mixed bag. Like with anything, the internet is a place where people sometimes just like to throw tomatoes at the wall to stain it. But
there's a lot of Greenland open. Folks want to fuck around with that. Greenland's just like nada. Absolutely nothing. Antarctica too.
I've just enjoyed it. Right after I played OO is when I was sort of like at the height of this. So I drew an OO bomb caterpillar in Boston and stuff like that, right over my old neighborhood in Boston. But I don't know. There's something very satisfying when you're just like scrolling around and you see a reference to a game that you're like, oh, that's wild that like, you know, someone in the middle of Nebraska has also played this like obscure indie game that I like.
Speaking of obscure indie games.
Yeah. Should we use that as a segue into?
Let's do it.
Okay. So I played a game this week. I've not completed it, but I have played probably like a third of it. I don't think it's particularly long. It is a Latin name. I'm going to attempt to pronounce it. This is the second time this week I've had to say a video game name that was in Latin and has mispronounced it. Did an interview yesterday with someone that made a game that had a Latin name.
Yes, I know what person and what game.
So I think I need to learn Latin phonetics in order to not make a fool of myself. But it's Caput Mortum, I think. It's a Latin term that means deadhead. It's an alchemical term for it is the quote, the useless substance left over from a chemical operation such as sublimation and the epitome of decline and decay. This is so Caput Mortum is a first-person horror game sort of set in like a semi-fantastical but largely historical, kind of like medieval-ish tower. There's like a town that's fallen into decay with an evil tower at the core of it, and you are going into the tower to figure out what happened to this town. And it's basically like an alchemy-themed horror game.
Oh, cool.
Which is, I mean, that's enough to get me in the door. Like that's a cool, unique setup. But the thing that's really interesting about Caput Mortum is the control scheme. It's very hard to explain. I think I kind of just have to explain how the game controls, and you'll just have to virtualize this in your mind. Okay. So, first person horror game, you would imagine like, oh, the joysticks are moved, the right joystick is look around, et cetera, et cetera. None of that. It is the R2 and L2 are to turn left and right.
Do you have to play this with a pad?
You can. It said, it gave you the real Yakuza use a gamepad thing in the beginning.
Okay.
But you can play it on a keyboard. I did not, because I just figured, I don't know. I figured I'd just give it a shot the way they intended, the way God intended. So the rear triggers are to pivot left and right. R1 and L1 are to look up and down.
Oh my God.
So already just imagine.
Jesus.
Okay, so imagine you're in a calm puzzle scenario. This is already like a lot to take in. Now imagine there's like a fucking monster chasing you, and you're just like all of the muscle memory goes.
Suddenly you're using a controller like you were 6 again. You can't, you don't know how to. Left and right's one being up and one being down on that is that's a nightmare. Oh my God,
it's terrible. It's like System Shock 1.
It is. You're right. Yeah.
The right joystick moves your hand around. So you see your hand in front of you like any first person game, but the right joystick moves it around the screen.
Oh my God.
Like if you want to grab something, you have to move your little hand that's like floating out in front of you to grab stuff and interact with it. There's more controls, but that's sort of like the mainstay of it. And then you move with the other joystick.
Wow.
But so
like, can you not move the camera is the buttons on the triggers. So that is only there because they wanted to make the right stick your hand.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
It is an interesting question that I'd love to ask the dev someday. Is the chicken and the egg scenario? Was the idea of an abstracted control scheme the seed that was planted that yielded this idea, or were they like you said, it would be interesting to control the right hand with the joystick, and then they're like, oh, but then what do we do with the camera? And then it kind of emerged from that.
Okay, without getting into spoilers, I have one question.
Yes.
Is this game a little bit like Arx Fatalis then? Because there's a couple of things that are making it sound like you've got alchemy, you've got a hand that can make motions on the screen that can.
I feel like tonally kind of similar a little bit, but in terms of gameplay, very, very different. I've not played a ton of Arx Fatalis. It's a game I've just played the beginning of. But maybe like aesthetically, and thematically, but not mechanically.
Cool.
So this is a first-person horror game. Like I said, when you sort of like, I felt like I had a good handle on these controls for a minute, and you're kind of doing the intro puzzle, and you're like, all right, like this isn't so bad. Like, I've played Mooncat and UFO 50. I can fuck with unorthodox control schemes. But as soon as a monster comes out, it just all goes out the window. The first sort of serious monster that chased me, I was carrying a puzzle item, and I'm running from this thing. And like, I like horror games. I don't really play a lot of like first person horror games, like Condemned or Amnesia and stuff. It's not that I don't like them. It's just that like they scare me in a way that isn't like psychological horror. I just feel like someone's chasing me in real life. And that it's so intensified by the control scheme to the extent that I was running from this monster, and you're like in this alchemy lab, and there's like a shelf falling over, and I'm like, all right, if I can just run and I can crouch under that and run through, he won't be able to get through. So I'm running, and I press the button to crouch, which is either L3 or R3, but the other stick press is to drop the item you're holding.
Oh no.
So I'm running in, and I'm like running for this dude, and I'm like, all right, I'm home free. I just gotta crouch and go through there. And then I just drop the puzzle piece and then crouch and run through. So now I have to go back into the room where the guy is, because I fucking like fumbled the controls and dropped the puzzle piece at his feet like an idiot. So that's kind of the fun, is like, we talked about this with Mooncat and UFO 50, and obviously Bennett Foddy did this with QWOP and stuff, and there's a lot of games that have unorthodox control schemes, but the fun of it is that like sometimes in a video game you pick it up and you know instantly what to do. Like a first person shooter, anyone who's played a video game kind of intuitively knows how to control it, or like a 3D platformer, or like any Mario game. This is the opposite end of the spectrum, where the fun is being an inveterate video game player and just being like, now how do I, being like someone's grandma who got handed the controller. And it's like, I don't know, it's fun. It's fun being like out of your element. Like video games are often such a comfortable space for me. Even challenging games, even like a Dark Souls is like, the challenge isn't being out of my element. The challenge is being very in my element against the odds,
right?
Against like difficult odds rather. But yeah, I don't know. It's fun just like fucking fumbling around this world. And the game, I won't spoil anything, but the game does some really interesting shit with the hand movement.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Scared the piss out of me.
Okay.
It is very, very, it's a scary game. And like, I don't know. It's not just like things growling at you. It like it does some really weird subversive shit is all I'll say.
Right. I'm gonna at least download the demo. There's a demo of it here. So I'm gonna do that. That seems
it's
like
freaky. I'm enjoying it a lot. I was very unnerved last night playing it, and I thought that was I didn't expect it to be as scary as it was. I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't play first person horror games. But the first dude was chasing me, and I was like tense. I felt like someone was behind me in real life. It was fucking. I don't know. I usually horror games don't get under my skin, but just feeling like I was driving a car on icy roads or something made it 10 times worse.
Caput Mortum available on Steam for the low price. It's $10.79 looks like at the moment. They've got a that introductory offer will be over, so you'll have to pony up the extra $1.20. It's $12 on Steam. It came out just last week. Yeah, August 27th. Very cool. Caput Mortum. Make sure you leave your reviews, of course, if you're playing any of these games, downloading any of these games. I actually had an idea for doing do you remember Feedbackula over at GameSpot UK?
I remember the name.
It was Johnny did a show. It was based on this thing that used to be on the BBC where they'd basically read out people's comments from videos and stuff. I thought it'd be funny to do something like that for like Steam reviews, but maybe just like highlighting indie game Steam reviews and sort of, recommending games through reviews, maybe from our community as well. That might be something cool we could do over on the second channel. So maybe.
Yeah, I like that.
Frank, speaking of hot new indie games. Oh wait, this is the opposite. Mega Man X Collection. This is the one that came out like a good while ago.
2018, I think.
Okay, but wasn't there an earlier one of this? I forget.
There's like Mega Man Collection, which is like the original Nintendo ones. Mega Man X Collection. Then there's like Battle Network Collection, and then like
Legacy Collection.
There's it's like Capcom every 6 months there's a new
exactly.
So I talked about like a little bit last week where I went to the Capcom Museum in Nagoya and it was so incredible, but I realized my biggest like gap with Capcom's lineage is Mega Man, because as a kid like it was huge because they were like actively coming out in the 90s, but I was like a little kid. Those games are so hard as a kid. I had Mega Man X. I like the music, I like the pixel art, like that era of Super Nintendo Capcom games, Street Fighter 2, like the music, art style, everything that like defined video games for me. But I was never good at the Mega Man games. The only way I ever beat Mega Man X was using save states on an emulator. But now, like, I don't know, like, let's say like 25 years later, it's like, okay, let me try this again. Again, I was so blown away by all the Mega Man stuff at the museum. So I bought Mega Man X Collection, and I still haven't like beaten any of them yet. I'm not touching the Sigma levels because the final levels are always boss rush stages. But what I'm doing so far, I've just done it with Mega Man X and Mega Man X2. There's X3 and X4 in the collection. Is just go through the first 8 bosses, and that in itself has been a very fun and rewarding experience because these games are kind of like, in a way, like the Metroidvania search action games where it's like you go through a stage. The first time you go through it, it's like, oh, I can't get to this ledge. I can't get this heart item. You do a few bosses, and then that gives you an ability to then go back and get the item. And as you're playing these games, it's like, oh, you are powering up Mega Man. You're acquiring armor. You're acquiring all these abilities. I think as a kid, I never even knew there were secrets. I did like they were so hard because I didn't realize like how you're supposed to play these games. Like there's a boss order, weaknesses, all this stuff. And so now it's so funny coming back to these games as an adult and being like, oh, wait a minute, and strategy guides and all this stuff. And I'm having so much fun. The way these, I mean, again, like. I don't know, it sounds weird to like review a game so many years later, but it's like the way Mega Man games control are so tight and precise. Everything about it, the pixel art, the music is so phenomenal. Even at the Nintendo Power exhibit at PAX, there was a lot of like American like Mega Man X art and stuff because like Nintendo Power featured it all the time. So it was just like, oh my God, there's so many so much in this world. And yeah, I kind of want to go through all the Mega Man games and as much as I can. I'm not going to get mad at the Sigma levels, but yeah, it's been really, really cool. So right now I'm almost done with Mega Man X, X2, and then I'm excited to dive into X3. I haven't touched the PlayStation ones. Those are the ones I'm most interested in because like I'm so familiar with the 16-bit stuff.
Which ones are those?
So I think it's X4 and 8. And so like yeah,
Jesus.
the Mega Man games are so nonsense because it's like I don't know where Jeremy might know too. Like, is Mega Man 1 through 7, are those all Nintendo games or some of those Game Boy games? Because the X series are like Super Nintendo, and then there's PlayStation, and then Mega Man 9 was like an Xbox 360. I don't know. The series is insane.
Yeah, my experience with Mega Man is more through Mega Man X. I'm looking at the list right now. Mega Man through Mega Man 6 are NES, and then 7 is Super Nintendo. 8 is PlayStation and Sega Saturn, and then 9, 10, 11 are like PS3, PS4. But the X games, you know, biking, skateboarding,
Tony Hawk.
Yeah, I like when Proto Man gets on his skateboard. Mega Man X 1, 2, and 3 are some of my favorite games growing up. Mega Man X especially, I played the absolute shit out of. An interesting element of it is that it's sort of has like a stage select thing, and it has non-linearity in a very sort of like innovative way for the time where there's strategy to which bosses you fight first because you get their weapon, and their weapon is useful against, like, Mega Man has this thing where he steals like abilities from people he defeats, kind of like Kirby. I guess it's the same as Kirby now that I think about it. But you'll get like, you know, kill fucking whatever, the penguin guy, or like drill Mandrill or whatever. And then their weapon is used specifically like the weakness of another boss, but also the stages transform. So I think if you do in X, if you beat the snow level before you do the lava fire like industry level, it like freezes over the lava and makes the level easier.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really, really cool. So as a kid, it was wild to be like, to start the game over multiple times because you would see these strategies emerge, and it was fun just to see the different levels transformed into their different states. Yeah, I always liked Mega Man X better than the base Mega Man series as well, because it just has more sort of like finesse. I don't know if the base Mega Man games have like the air dash and stuff like that. I always liked how Mega Man X was about sort of like, you know, you dash and then jump, and then it creates like a momentum jump, and then you air dash, and it has this sort of like, you know, tricking to it, not unlike the X games.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the wall, like I feel like I cheese every single boss by just constantly dashing on the wall,
and wall jumping up in the corner. Yeah,
and like I'm getting, again, I like locked as a kid. Like the only way you can beat it is using save states. But like once you know how a level works, even if you go through like your 4 lives and you have to start the level again, you can get to the boss pretty quickly because you're not looking for power ups, you're just getting there. And then once you're at the boss, there's like checkpoints, and you have like 3 lives to get it, and like it is that Dark Souls thing. I mean, like, even doing Dark Souls, if you get killed, you have to run back to the boss. So it's like,
and dying a few times as well, like, teaches you what the Mega Man bosses are. You know, it's the same as anything. Dying, you know, just trying to read the patterns and figure out how they move and all that stuff.
Yeah. And that's elation. That's so, when you finally kill the boss, like I stand up and scream. It's so exciting. So
are you doing all this because you're trying to play all the Mega Man games before Pragmatic comes out?
Maybe. Oh my god, I don't know. I'm so obsessed with Capcom Ichiban. I told the producers Onimusha that.
You tell every producer Ichiban.
Dude, I didn't say this. Tokyo Extreme Racer, Genki, they had a booth at PAX. So I went up to them. I was like, "Oh, Tokyo Extreme Racer, Ichiban. This game's awesome, Ichiban." And they're like, "Oh, thank you." And then one of the producers was like, "Joshi Purores." They saw my T-shirt. I was wearing a Ramkai Chow shirt. I'm like, "You like Joshi Wrestling?" Hat. Oh. And then I showed them my backpack. They freaked out. And then one of them asked the most specific question. It was like, "How do you feel about Mayu Iwatani leaving Stardom?" And then I was like, "Hold on a second." I opened up my phone and I showed them, I was like, "Chotto mate kudasai." And I showed them the picture of me with Mayu Iwatani. That was only possible because she went to a lesser promotion, and in order for that promotion to make money, they have to force her to do meet and greets. So I was like, it's awesome because I met her, and they were like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's Tokyo last week." And then I was like, "Okay, back to the game. Yeah, I like your game because it's like being in Tokyo, whatever." But it was so funny just to be like, "Oh my god!" It felt so cool.
My wife kept saying, like, "I thought I saw Frank." She's like, "There's like a lot of guys who look like Frank at PAX," and I'm like, "Just if the hat says Stardom, it's Frank, and if it doesn't, it's not Frank."
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I think what it is like it's fun to also again being in Japan, there was so many Mega Man figures and stuff, and it's like now I'm like, damn it, now I gotta go back and get Mega Man stuff. But it's always fun to kind of rewrite your opinion on something. Again, especially opinions you formed as a kid. Like, yeah, I always thought Mega Man was too hard, but it's like, wait, I've spent decades playing games. I can do this now.
He's starting to believe.
Right? So yeah, and again, the soundtracks are so good.
They're so good, dude. Yeah, the soundtracks shaped my the three. There were like I have three specific like music core memories in my life as a child, and they were the Mega Man soundtrack, a little toy I had that was shaped by a guitar, and it would like play back little like super compressed guitar samples. And all three of these are kind of the same aesthetic. The third is the first time I heard Daft Punk as a child. They all have this like sort of like crunchy sampled guitar, like fake guitar thing that just like, I don't know, it shaped my whole aesthetic as a child. The Mega Man X, also like the character design in X1, 2, and 3 was so like, I don't know. I always liked the base Mega Man characters. Like I had figures of Proto Man and Guts Man and Mega Man as a kid that I should dig up and see if they still exist somewhere. But Mega Man X was like the cool version. You know what I mean? That's what the X indicated, is that it was cool.
It felt like Mega Man was very like chibi and cute. Yeah. Because it was like 8-bit and like big eyes. And then X was like, okay, let's get into the attitude. You know, like back when like Nintendo versus Sega, and so it was that was what the 90s tone was. So it felt like X was like, all right, Mega Man's here too, and now he's got the edge. And yeah, it's so sick.
Yeah, I think it's X2 or something in the intro. Maybe it's an X1. I can't remember. You could tell me maybe if you've played these recently that Mega Man gets into trouble and like Zero saves him. When Zero comes out with the sword and the cape. Yeah, the music kicks in. That was like the fucking coolest. That like I played that scene 1,000 times as a child just to hear the music and see Zero.
It's Mega Man X because it's like a boss fight you're supposed to lose. Which is why my that's like my most hated trope in video games.
Me too, because he gets locked up and Mega Man's like freaking out. Yeah. It's so good. Those games are great. I said this the other week when we were talking about Metroid, but like they need to, the way to bring Mega Man back is to make a Mega Man Metroidvania. It's like there are so many Metroidvania elements in the Mega Man games, and also they control so similarly to Metroid. Like Samus has a fucking gun arm.
You every time you kill a boss, you get a new item. You know, unlocks them.
And just take Mega Man X and put all of the levels in a world together. It's that easy. It's not. That
I was
easy.
like, yeah, like so, I don't know. That sounds like some like ROM hack. Yeah, take all 8 stages and have them all connected.
Right. There is I was looking at this the other day. It's Mega Man Corrupted, I think it's called. Okay. Mega Man X Corrupted. This is a fan project. I believe this is the right one. Yes. So this has been in the works for years, and I think the estimated release date is 2027.
Oh no, is it like every game in the same world or something?
No, it's like a totally original Mega Man X game made by fans. And if you watch, there's I can't remember if it's like a trailer or like a gameplay sample. But the music, the sprite art, the like everything about it is as good, if not better, than the original Mega Man X art.
This is the sort of stuff we need to start doing reporting on, because it's like no one else is going to cover this nonsense. Like that's true. Man, this looks crazy. Oh my god!
I'll see if there's contact info out there for them. I'm sure they would love the coverage, because this is like a decade long project. I can't remember how long it's been in the works, but I remember hearing about it a long time ago.
Yeah, JKB Games. I just looked at the most recent video from like 5 months ago, and the pixel art is like, it's like tribute games. It's like a mind blowing. It's like, this is insane.
Yeah, this looks incredible.
This is crazy.
Wow. It's so good. I'll see what's out there. I would love to talk to these folks.
Man, oh man. Okay. Well, speaking of games that are coming out in the future, let's talk about games that are coming out in the future. We're in September. There's only 4 months left in the year, right? September, October, November, December. Sure. 2/3 of the way through 2025. It's been a roller coaster. But most of the games are about to come out. That's kind of how this weird industry works. I guess it's all about Christmas and Thanksgiving for some reason. So let's go through some of them. I'm not going to have absolutely all of them, of course, but we'll get through a bunch of them, as many as we can. You guys tell me if there's anyone you want to talk about. I'll do a month, and then if there's anything in that month that stands out to you that you're looking forward to, just jump in. So let's go through September pretty quick. Hell is Us, I think, is coming out tomorrow. No, the next day. So it'll be out by the time this podcast is up. The Indiana Jones and the Great Circle DLC is also out this Thursday, which is good for us because we have a bunch about that DLC in our Indiana Jones documentary, which will be out in about a week after that. Silksong is out on the 4th, of course, but Silksong, of course, had to make way for Frank's favorite game, Everybody's Golf Hot Shots, which is coming out on the 5th, which is the day this podcast goes up. Borderlands 4 is coming out September 12th, would you believe? Massive, what the fuck were they doing? They're smashing glass or something, Frank?
They had this. They had you could hear it like from a mile away. There would just be loud smashes. So Borderlands 4's booth they had called it like a rage room, which these are similar like escape rooms. You dress up in like Slipknot suits and you just with a baseball bat smash like plates and stuff.
Sing Wait and
which
Bleed.
Is like it's literally just making noise to get attention to your booth. So I was like, all right.
It made me and my family think that somebody had gone crazy when we went into the booth and go in the opposite direction.
That's just out, like on the streets of Seattle or inside.
Yeah,
inside
look, the streets of Seattle outside of the convention center are pretty gnarly. So, Lego Voyager's out September 15th. Dying Light: The Beast is out September 19th. Then Baby Steps is out on September 23rd, as is Consume Me, which won a bunch of awards at the IGF this year, on the 25th. Same day as Silent Hill F. Sonic Racing Cross Worlds is hitting the consoles and PC on September 25th. We have EA Sports FC 26. Take this, they're riding high on that, no longer calling it FIFA. Didn't seem to make a difference. And that's coming out. Pac-Man World 2 Repack. There were a lot of people playing that at PAX as well. That's coming out around the end of the month. Final Fantasy Tactics, The Invalus Chronicles, NBA Bounce, and Lego Party. Lego Party was fun. We played that at SGF. That was good fun. NBA Bounce. I did not know about this. It is a family-friendly NBA game, which makes me think.
Wait, what's not family friendly?
I was thinking the same thing.
Base basketball.
Yeah, I don't know. September. Any particular fancy there, lads?
I Consume Me. I've been psyched for. I kind of know I want to play it. So even though it's got a lot of coverage, I've kind of intentionally blocked it out. Baby Steps as well. I like Bennett Foddy a lot. Oftentimes his games are too frustrating for me. Getting over it, I was like, wow, this is a fantastic piece of art. I will never complete it.
Yes, I'll watch streams of people playing it, but I will not play it myself. Yeah.
Agreed. But I think Baby Steps might be the one that gets me to go all in on it. It seems like, I don't know if it's more approachable, but for some reason, I think it might be. Sense.
Yeah.
It feels that way to me. I don't know if that's a Trojan horse for Bennett Foddy's evil genius.
Fair point, yeah.
To work its way into my life.
Silent Hill?
And then Silent Hill F, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I did not click with the Silent Hill 2 remake, but it wasn't because it's not because it wasn't made well. It's not because it was bad. It was just like, I personally have my Silent Hill 2 experience, and it was recent. Like, it's not like I have like a nostalgia for this game. Nice. I played it like 2-3 years ago for the first time and loved it. I just didn't need to go back to that world, and I especially didn't want to see a different version of it because it was still like so fresh in my mind. But you know, like technically it was brilliantly made. So Silent Hill F having a similar presentation, at least, you know, from the trailer or whatever, I think I fingers crossed it's good. Silent Hill has a mixed track record.
Yeah.
And then, I'm excited for Hot Shots Golf, Silent Hill. There's 2 games not listed on that. Hotel Barcelona, which is the new Swery and Suda51 game. It looks like a micro. It's like a side-scrolling hack and slash, but I'm curious. And then the Mortal Kombat Trilogy Collection comes out.
Yes, that was
September 29th.
Yeah, it was on all the PAX lanyards as well, wasn't it?
Cool, yeah.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, looking forward to that one. That'll be good. From our good friends over at Digital Eclipse as well. New games for October 2025. Ghost of Yotoi kicks it off October 2nd. Then we have Battlefield 6 October 10th. Little Nightmares 3 is out that day as well. Jurassic World Evolution 3 is October 21st, and my wife will be very excited to play that. She's a big fan of that series. Ninja Gaiden 4 is also coming out that same day, as is Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. A game we've talked about a lot over the years, which has had a tumultuous development. Several studios touching that one. I believe the Chinese Room has been the ones finishing it. And I really much enjoyed their Scottish oil rig game that came out last year. What was that called again? It's too many games, and I have dementia, so I don't know anything anymore.
Why are we all forgetting the names?
It's terrible. What?
The something deep. What the fuck is it called?
The something deep.
I'm just googling the something deep Scottish.
Something _ deep.
Still wakes the deep.
Still wakes the deep. There we go. Thank you. Once Upon a Katamari is coming out October 24th. The Outer Worlds 2. The third game released by Obsidian Entertainment in the year of our Lord 2025, after Avowed and the sequel to Grounded is coming out October 29th. Arc Raiders is coming out October 30th, a game that we are very familiar with because we're doing a Secret Day project about it. There will be a 3-part documentary series coming out quite soon after that release date, all about that game. So I'm excited to see what the reception to the game is. Mina the Hollower is coming out October 31st as well. So some good stuff coming out in September. Anything for you guys?
There's also Terminator 2D. No, I mentioned it last week, but Terminator 2D No Fate, October 31st, which looks very cool.
Moonlighter 2 as well. I'll be curious to see. I enjoyed the first Moonlighter, one of the 6 games I played on my Nintendo Switch. Moonlighter is a game where you do little dungeon delving and then you come back and run an RPG shop and it's bouncing. It's like
the first of those, wasn't it? I feel like Dave the Diver and all those came out after, where you're doing 2 games, you know?
They're all sort of also taking inspiration from, I think it's called Reciteer. It's like a, Frank, what's it called? Is it Dojin Soft? What's it called when Japanese developers are hobbyist developers that end up making, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think the broad term is Dojin because that's what Toho is and all that. It's all fan made games.
Yeah, Dojinshi. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
And what does that mean? They're fan made games that become commercial games?
Dojinshi is a Japanese term for self-published print works such as magazine, manga, and novels. There is a video game equivalent, but I don't know if it's a different
So it's
word,
a different layer of indie that sort of exists in Japan or something.
Yes.
Okay.
So the Reciteer was a series that I think predates Moonlighter, I'm pretty sure. That is incredibly similar, dungeon delving and then coming back and running a shop. But it was a sort of bunch of people were let's just make a game for fun. And then it blew up into this thing.
Okay. And was Moonlighter the same people?
No. Moonlighter is the genre is identical.
Gotcha.
That dungeon shop duality was sort of the similarity.
Excellent. And then in November, Europa Universalis 5 is out for all you sickos on November 4th. Karn is out on November 5th. I think we've talked about that a bunch on here. Unbeatable, I think, was that No, people were talking to me a lot about Unbeatable, actually. I don't think it was at PAX, but that was the one that had the really sick trailer as well, from Playstack. What else we got? Black Ops 7, if you're into that type of thing, is out November 14th. Demon School coming out November 19th now. Got kicked a few months down the road by Silksong. We'll have a preview of that on Noclip 2 in the next little while. We'll talk to you about Noclip 2 soon as well. I know I keep saying Noclip 2, but we're getting there. Kirby Air Riders, which had a big presence at PAX as well, November 20th. And I'm trying to see if there's anything else on this one that stands out. It's actually a relatively sleepy November now that I look at it. I know 117 is there. Goodnight Universe. Anything else that I didn't pick up on, Frank, from your little list?
Nothing on November. I have to nothing immediately.
Okay. Well, there you go. And the only one I have for December is Octopath Traveler 0 early in the month, which kind of tracks, I guess. There is some other stuff that hasn't gotten release dates, of course, for the rest of this year. So we don't know if Marathon's coming out, Metro Prime 4. I guess Skate just came out of, or it's in early access now. Have you played this, Frank?
I think it comes out the 16th or something. I was so angry because I've had so many friends get accepted to this. I had a friend who's been on it for 2 years.
Oh, you're kidding,
and
really?
I never got access. I was so angry, and I always make jokes because there's every month they'll have a feedback form, and I'm always tell them to send me an invite code. It makes me so mad. I feel like I'm the biggest Skate fan. I never got access.
Me
to
neither.
This. I'm let me.
I have a lot of time with indie skateboarding games on Steam, and I was surely, and Tony Hawk, of course, but no, nothing either. So
I don't, right? I feel like I can get in there and help. Let me, I don't know. So, but thankfully, I was at my friend's place, and yeah, I finally got to play it and see it. And it's so funny because he has the alpha, and there's 6,000 watermarks. Like, it has your player ID, your name. So I think
so
now it was like the August 28th they lifted. So you can share clips, and then I think it's like the 16th. It's finally gonna be open to everybody. It's man, it felt exactly. I picked it up. It felt really cool. One thing they have now is, I'm sure you can turn up, but in the bottom of the screen, it has like the little right thumbstick. So it shows you exactly what your inputs are doing. Because that was always a thing with Skate, is you'd have missions that's like, do a 360 flip, and it's so hard to get the exact motion. So on screen, it is literally showing how specific your movements are, which is kind of neat. And there's a lot of silly movements. It still seems like kind of silly, which is what Skate 3 was, which I'm not a big fan of. You can roll around like Sonic and just, I don't know, there's so much silly movement stuff, but it's always online, so there's just random people in the lobby, so you can skate with. There's co-op missions and stuff. I only got to play for like 10 minutes, but I'm dying to like dive in and chill out with it. There's like there's cosmetics. My friend had Vans. Like, there's all a bunch of stuff that's licensed in here, Thrasher and stuff. Again, this is from the best demo I played at PAX was playing the Skate Alpha at my friend's house. So it's coming to early access, I believe, on the 16th, which is 2 weeks from today, on Tuesday. So that's a Tuesday. Sorry, I should stop saying today because this comes out on a Friday. We record pretty early in the week. So yeah, it'll be the 16th, so Tuesday week basically. It'll be coming out. So we'll definitely be diving in at that stage. I know for sure. I know Gersman played some as well. I saw him post something on his Patreon, so I gotta go check that out as well. So yeah, those are at least the games that we know about. Obviously, indie stuff drops that doesn't get added to. We were pulling from a GamesRadar list, which hopefully Jesse will put in the show notes. I checked a couple of other lists and it seemed like the one that had a bunch of stuff on it. But yeah, obviously that won't be everything exhaustively, but at least that's a bit of a heads up on what's coming out for the rest of the year. Frank,
I got one more before we jump into the next thing. Mouse PI for hire.
Oh, of course, yes.
1930s like rubber hose, Steamboat Willie, first person shooter, ImSim.
Public domain.
Yeah, exactly.
Public domain.
I don't know. I don't actually know if it's an ImSim or like more of a boomer shooter. I think it's more of a boomer shooter, but regardless, it looks amazing. Yeah,
it does. It looks amazing. Hopefully it plays good too, because the art style is it's like Cuphead levels of holy shit, I need to see what this looks like. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Frank, you want to take some emails?
I was gonna say there's one game it's worth mentioning. The trailer for this came out a while ago. It says release date Q4 2025. It's called Sweet Hamster Days. This is a Japanese dating sim. The premise is you get hit by a bus and you're reincarnated as a hamster in a home of 3 sisters, and it's like a romantic dating sim, but you're a hamster. And it's the craziest. Wait, is
this an FMV game?
Yeah,
so are you sure this isn't one of those Steam NSFW games?
Well, so it's produced by Friday, which is like Japan's leading Gravure magazine. It's like a weekly thing, but it's not nudity. So Gravure is the line. Japan has very strict pornography laws. So Gravure is like everyone's wearing bikinis and stuff like that. Or not bikinis, but like underwear. So, but it's produced by like a legit studio, like a photo studio, whatever. So I'm really interested in that. But there's no release date, but Q4 2025. I'm legitimately excited for this.
We'll keep an eye out for Sweet Hamster Days.
Yeah. And then now, as we keep our eye on
it there, Frank. So,
thank you. That was what I was gonna. Whenever that's out, I'd love to pitch.
Wait, it has the same publisher as And Roger, the incredibly sad game that Jesse mentioned the other day.
Oh, no.
I just want to point that out for apropos of nothing.
It's like a wasabi and a bit of ginger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Palate cleanser there.
Yeah, Kodansha. I think they do manga too. They're good. They're good. Okay, emails. If you want to send us an email, write to us podcast@noclip.video or in our Patreon Discord in the podcast chat channel. That's podcast@noclip.video. Our first question comes from Catherine asking about insect games. Hi, all. With Hollow Knight's sequel coming out, I've been wondering, are there any games that really make you feel like an insect? They don't necessarily have to have you play as an insect. Time Flies is the only one I can think of these.
Oh, my God.
But games that give you a worm's eye view of the world.
I mean, I have the ultimate answer to this. Can I go first? It's Mr. Mosquito. Yeah.
That's a great one.
Frank's nodding, too. PlayStation 2, I want to say.
Yep.
I'm not sure if I don't think I've ever actually played it, but I've seen video of it over the year. You play a mosquito, and if I'm right, you spend, I think, the entire game in this one house with this one family, and you're basically just trying to suck as much blood as you can from them in various situations. I feel like that game, whenever I see video of that game, that is the game that makes you feel like an insect because everything's big. You're like a little mosquito. They're all moving around in like fast-paced world and you're trying to sort of, not get in their way or get squished and harvest your blood from these giant behemoth humans. So that's my one for sure.
One that came to mind isn't Jet Force Gemini, that N64 game? Isn't that like, aren't you on an insect planet or something? I just know you're killing a bunch of bugs.
Oh, that's,
all the enemies are bugs in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're aliens and you land on Earth and you're fighting bugs or something. I don't know, but that's
true. That's an interesting flip on the premise. Is instead of humans that are small, it's bugs that are large. By that metric, Body Harvest also is a good answer.
Earth Defense Force as well. I mean, they're all that.
Is a great answer.
Yeah.
Chibi Robo you're not a bug, but you're bug sized, which is, I mean, it's like if the fantasy you're after is being small in a world where like tables are the size of mountains, then Chibi Robo.
Hey, just play Unreal Tournament then, get level loaded. That's true. There's an Astrobot, the new one, level. There's a couple of them where you get really small, which are very cool. But I feel like that's more mouse sized or something. I think the aesthetic they use is very mousy. I feel like there's a bunch of like early PC games like Sacrifice and maybe Giant Citizen Kabuto that feel kind of earthy. There was like an era of PC game textures that exist there that feels very earthy and insectoid, like Xenoclash as well. Like games that had this sort of like, I don't know, like hyper colorized textures for ground and stuff. I don't know. They just felt like very, very earthy in a way. It makes me feel like insects. I don't know why. Gives me the vibe.
True. Sim Ant also.
Of course.
You're not. It's kind of defeats the purpose because it's like an omniscient perspective of little bugs. So it kind of is like being a human looking at bugs. But
that's the thing. Worms and Worms 3D. Neither of them make you feel like you're a worm. Like
that's a good point.
You're just a person with a gun. Like Hogs of War doesn't make you feel like a pig either. It's just like, they're worms. But I'm trying to think other games like digging around. I don't really like. I don't feel like a
Grounded
worm.
is an obvious answer. We talked about Grounded earlier in this podcast, but I've never even played those games, but they seem cool.
Yeah, it's the same thing where it's like you got to play with a bunch of people, or most people do. So I don't mess with them. But maybe if my daughter gets old enough to play those games, we could do them. It's like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or whatever. Yeah. Anything else coming to mind? I think of like wet and fleshy and that sort of thing. Games don't really do that. You know what I mean? Games don't do a lot of gross. Like people don't like being in gross places. So
there's like Devil May Cry. I forget which one. I think it's DMC3, but in one of them you're like fighting. You're inside like a monster's body, so all the walls are just disgusting, dripping flesh, and it's like, that's gross.
I feel like maybe it's just a very human perspective. Is that when I think of being an insect, I think of gross and I think of things being bigger than me. But like to an insect, they probably don't give a shit. They're probably just like, it's like planets look at us and go, whoa, it must be weird being a human. You can't even fly through space. Because planets talk.
True. If planets could talk. Webbed, another one by S-Bug Games, where you're a little tiny spider.
Webbed.
2D platformer.
Okay. Oh, yeah, Webbed. Yeah. I forgot about this thing. God, that's a blast from not the most recent past, I guess. Yeah, there you go.
And then M asked about our Machine Games doc. Watching the most recent Machine Games series, I was astonished by what a tumultuous time the studio has faced. From having their first game canceled, joining with another studio, making a self-admitted bad game, being dropped by their publisher, and going through a laundry list of many other challenges and disappointments, through multiple other publishers and restructurings, they've ended up making some really fantastic games, and they've come out the other side of it with their ambitions intact to great success. My question is, do you think that there's a level of unpredictability and chaos that is almost inevitable in an industry that is arguably even more of a clusterfuck than Hollywood? It feels miraculous that any game ever gets made, so do you feel that ambitious games are always going to necessitate a pretty high degree of instability like this?
I don't even know if it's ambitious games. I think just like the industry has always been this tumultuous. Like most studios we've talked to, I feel like had a rough time of it at some stage along the way, and if we didn't talk to them, it's because they don't exist anymore and they had a rough period and stopped. I mean, one of the things that was really sad when me and Frank were doing the panel, is a couple of folks came up and asked questions during the Q&A section, and then also talked to us afterwards, who had recently been let go from Monolith. And like that's a studio which we could have easily done a documentary on at any stage over the past couple of years, and it would have been just stories about that. Like, they've been around for 20 something years and had loads of, they had like great days with like early games like Blood and all these like awesome games they made. And then, when the Shadow of Mordor game came out, and I remember it won Game of the Year at GameSpot, like that was such a big moment for that studio again, to be like, this game did really well, and they were, critically and commercially successful. And then obviously was it Wonder Woman they were working on, so I feel like this is just like every studio, id, the same thing happened with, IO Interactive. We talked to them. Arcane, definitely, especially Austin. So I don't even think it's necessarily their ambition, but I do think at a certain point, when you've had all this bad stuff happen and you've been making safe choices, I think some people just get, well, fuck it. If we're almost going to die and we're doing things that we think are going to work, let's do something crazy and see if that works. And sometimes it works out. And those are the studios we still talk about. And sometimes it doesn't. And those are the studios that get lost or forgotten about.
Yeah, the funding instability thing is also like a front-loaded or back-loaded problem, where if you get funding, then it's about like meeting milestones and meeting expectations and like managing that, or like studios close down or publishers close down. Whereas, a lot of indie developers now, it's about sort of like, we'll make this thing and hope that it makes enough money or recoups its costs, or that we can get funding, or we can get it like, 80% of the way to the finish line and then pitch to publishers. And so it's kind of just like, yeah, pick your poison. Do you want to try to like pitch an idea to people based on speculative stuff and get investment, or do you want to just like, I don't know. I mean, it's not feasible to sort of just like make things on spec too a lot of the times. Like if you have 5 employees for 3 years, multiply 5 yearly salaries times 3, and then that's a crazy amount of money already for a small game.
It's nuts how the other problem with all the investment stuff is that like that only works for really big games. Is that like most, anyone who has money doesn't want to invest in. Like, I feel like if any of us had that much money, we would invest in 20 great, interesting looking ideas rather than one games of service to rule over them all, right? But that's the world of investment. They are always going to be going for the big ticket. And that's why we've constantly seen these big projects that have run for 4 years and cost hundreds of millions of dollars, and they come out and they don't work. And it's like, oh, well, of course, it's like you stayed really close to the status quo because you had all this money and this massive amount of people that you were going to have to get in through the door. And it didn't work out. And it's just a shame that there is no pipeline for that on a smaller scale. Like, I don't know, maybe there is somebody doing it somewhere, but like, surely if you were like a big fan of games and you were a billionaire, just like fucking go fund a bunch of cool looking shit. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I don't understand. Yeah, whatever. People whose main motivation is money, I guess, are motivated by the money, and they're not motivated by making cool shit. So it's sort of self-defeating, I guess, maybe.
And then Steven wrote in and asked, I was wondering if any of you have a favorite old game that you replay on a regular basis, or have you played a recent new game inspired by an older game that made you go back and play that old game again?
I feel like that's Jeremy every week. Is playing an old game because of a new game, or a new game because of an old game.
Yeah, I'm not big on replaying games, but I am big on like, if I play an old game, then I'm like, oh, I need to see what people are doing in this genre space now. Or if I play a new game, I'm like, oh, I need to see the origins of this genre. Super Metroid I've talked about a lot recently because it was just, I was a blind spot. I'd never played a Metroid game, and I'd played a ton of Metroidvania, so that was fun. And then that, conversely, I rubber banded back and started replaying Hollow Knight for the first time. Yeah, I don't know if I don't have like a comfort game. I'm trying to think like if there's like a game that I just like fire up sometimes.
I do a lot of going back and playing Quake 3 or Quake Champions or Quake Live or something like that, like Unreal Tournament. That's my comfort game. I'll go back and play like 30 minutes and then be like, yeah, video games, and then get on to the next one.
I wish that I could have a more healthy relationship with competitive shooters. It just I have no the brakes on the car. Like I wish I could fire like Deadlock got a new update and has a bunch of new characters.
Yeah, crazy big update it looks like.
And it's huge. Like it's not back up to where it was peak wise for concurrent players, but it's like last I checked it was like halfway back up there and climbing.
Okay.
But it's having a second wave, and I'm like, should I get back into it? And then I look at my time played, and it's like 130 hours in 3 weeks or whatever.
Did you really?
And it's
oh my god.
Oh yeah, I've had to hide it on my Steam library and uninstall it because I just was
Wow.
it was like that and Balatro are like the only things that are hidden on my Steam library.
Holy shit.
I just fucking there's no. I'm all or nothing. I'm like an alcoholic when it comes to competitive shooters. I can't have like 2 beers and hang out with the boys. I'm like, let's get a bag of Coke and hit the next bar. That's my relationship to competitive shooters.
THPS might be the other one. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's a pretty good time. I like to turn the soundtracks off and play my own music and do that stuff. I had a buddy come over to my friend Dale and my friend Dennis came over obviously for QuakeCon, and we did the road trip. He brought my daughter some cool little gifts. He brought her like a little Mario Kart RC car thing, which was cool. But he also got her Sonic Origins on the Switch because she's been playing Mario Kart and stuff like that, and he was like, you know, he's a Sega boy, so he was like, you got to play some Sonic stuff, and he was like, admittedly, he's like, a lot of these games are probably going to be too hard for her right now. She's 7, so I've been playing a bit of that, and it just reminded me how fucking difficult Sonic games were, or they can be. But yeah, there's a hell of a bunch of games on those, so it's a good time. Can you play Mr. Mosquito on anything new? That's what I want to play now. Oh, there's a PlayStation 4 version came out 2024. PlayStation 5. No fucking way.
Really?
PlayStation 5 Mr. Mosquito? Are you for real?
Ooh, and it's part of PlayStation Premium. So
Dude.
And there are trophies for it.
Whoa. Yeah, it's right here. Holy shit. I've never played it. I think I might have to do a little video on this. Oh my God, be careful of the air current coming from the air conditioner. Suck 3 tanks of blood. There is 1 EX tanks here. Oh my God, I have to play this. Mr. Mosquito. I'm going to download it right now.
Is Mr. Mosquito is like a bit of a horny game, is it not?
I think it might be. Yeah, there is
a level where a girl's in a taking a bath, you know.
I feel like every
Japanese game.
Every screenshot. Oh yeah, wait, hold on. Is this a real? I feel like every screenshot I look up is like a woman's feet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a box art. I can't tell if this is real, but is the Japanese box art for this just a woman's foot with a mosquito on it?
What? I have to look this up.
Is this a real box art? There's a ton of if you just Google Mr. Mosquito and go to images, there are several instances of a Mr. Mosquito.
There's also a part where there's a guy lying down in a bed, but you know, he's in it.
True, but he's not. Well, I was gonna say he's not desirable because he has like a comb over and glasses, but maybe that's your type.
Don't yuck my yum.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. You're right.
I don't know if the Japanese box has a lady's feet on it.
Do you see? There's multiple results that say there's an Amazon
I do see
link
it. Oh
that
my
has it.
God, is that it for
Yeah.
real? Is
Mr.
that a
Mosquito
woman's foot?
Japan import.
That looks like an old person's foot.
I assumed it was a woman's foot because there are also screenshot of a woman with cartoonishly large feet, but it could be a trick of perspective.
That's fair enough. Yeah, this looks like it's like a painting of a foot or something. It's not a photograph and it's not gameplay, and it has an actual mosquito on her small toe, which is creeping me out.
Yeah, sitting on a tatami mat. It's very authentic.
Wow, there you go. Yeah, you might be right because there's another box art, or for Mr. Mosquito 2, where it's on her face. It's on a lady's face. There you go. Yep, and then the American one just has like a big 3D looking mosquito guy because we can't fuck with that stuff. Thanks for the emails, everyone. That was a good time. Appreciate it. One game I played at PAX that is not a video game is all the Canadians are gonna love this game called Crokinole. Ever play Crokinole? It's like a shuffleboard kind of thing. It's like a circular. It's spelt as it sounds, but with a K. Crokinole. It's like 4-player competitive shuffleboard kind of. Well, I mean, shuffleboard's competitive, but there's like a hole in the middle where you slide discs. You like flick discs across it, and so it's kind of like the curling a little bit, where you're knocking other people's discs off the thing, or shuffleboard. But me and my daughter got really into it. It was really good fun. It's a shame, like the crokinole boards cost like $300 or something, and they're only made in Canada. But it was good fun. It was I really enjoyed it.
Are you trying to sink one of the pucks into that center hole? Is that the idea?
You get it in the center hole, it's worth 20 points. If
Okay,
you get it in the middle area, it's 15, then 10, then 5. But the key thing is that you have to, if someone else has a puck or whatever it's called on the playboard, you have to hit it. If you don't hit it, then your point is invalid. So you're trying to, so it's almost like it's like track position in racing. It's like having dominance on the board is almost more important than actually getting the points in there. But yeah, it's a good time. If you get it in the middle, it gets 20, and then you pull it out and you put it to the side. But yeah, crokinole. Had a good time with crokinole. It's good shit. Canada. There you go. They made high sake and crokinole probably at the same time. They're kind of similar. And that's a podcast, folks. That's it. Thanks for coming to our panel. Our Machine Games documentary series continues. The Wolfenstein series doc should be out by the time this is up. Go check that out over on Noclip. And we'll have some news on Noclip 2, the second channel, pretty soon. Thanks to everyone who found the second Patreon and signed up to it, even though I think maybe Patreon sent out emails to people by accident. And I was like, fuck. But we'll have announcements for all that stuff and all of our big plans. Unless you were at the PAX panel and then you saw a lot of those big plans, including an announcement of a documentary we're filming later this year that we haven't told you about yet. So we'll be we haven't even told the patrons about that one actually. So only people at the panel know about that. So I'll talk about that on this month's patron show as well if you're a patron over at Noclip. So expect all of that goodness. What are you guys doing for the rest of the week? Frank, I'm assuming sleeping.
Yeah, I talked about it in our meeting, but like I want to edit this big Japan video, and I wrote like all these pages of voiceover, but I have a sore throat, so it's like I could record a temp track, but I'm gonna have to re-record it. But yeah, I have to literally walk to CVS. I don't even feel like I can drive because I'm so NyQuil up.
Oh, really?
So I have to walk to CVS, get more medicine. But yeah, just recover, and then work on the Japan video, and then dude, Hot Shots Golf on Friday. I'm so excited.
That's it. Move over, Silksong.
I am, let's see, I did a very cool interview yesterday. I'm excited to start editing that. We'll talk about that soon. It's for Noclip 2. Very talented game developer who I admire a lot. So gonna start on that, do some game dev myself, take that inspiration. Actually, it is funny working on a game and talking to game devs for work, because then they'll say things that I'm like, oh, that's great for the interview. But my primary thought before that is like, oh shit, like I need to write that down and like think about that when I'm developing games. So it's a fringe benefit. I'm recapturing that energy for ulterior motives. And yeah, taking care of some business and hopefully I want to go to the beach one more time if the weather gets nice, but it hasn't been super hot here. So I'm hoping we get a little, they call it Indian summer. I feel like if I say Native American summer, that feels overcorrective and not right.
I always thought Indian because of the India country, but I don't know.
Is it? I have no idea. Whenever it's American and they say Indian, I always assume it's just like from 1898.
Oh no, you're right. The term is originally from a variety of sources. Oh, no, I'm not reading the fucking AI stuff. What am I doing? Indian summer. Yeah, you might be right.
It's gotta be.
It's a term I've only ever learned when I moved over here, so that must be it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll find a better term for it. And as Slavoj Žižek tells the anecdote, was talking to a Native American about Americans saying the term Indian for Native Americans, and he said, I prefer the term Indian to Native American because at the very least it is a testament to the white man's ignorance, which is very, very funny.
Yeah, I like it. There is something to be said about Native American is a term that is explicitly from the perspective of the colonizer. You know what I mean? It's
because it's not just American.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like one level. Like if anything, they should be American, and we should be like a colonial American.
It's like the word vagina. I think wasn't that originally?
What?
I think a vagina is like a sheath for a sword. So it's like.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's like a very male perspective word. Anyway, sorry, I was listening to some.
I was gonna Google that, but then I realized immediately
over the week. You should. Yeah, you should. If I'm wrong, then hey, look, that's it, folks. It was fun knowing you. That's it. I'm out. Cancelled. But I thought that I read that or heard that. I read that. Whenever I say I read that, I meant I heard it on a podcast because I don't read shit. I got I got a weird brain. I can't read stuff too good. But you know what I can do? I can play Mr. Mosquito, which I've added to my fucking library here because it's on PS whatever streaming thing that I'm connected to. So I'm going to play some fucking Mr. Mosquito this weekend. And I have a lot of editing to do. So I'm going to do a lot of editing and a lot of prep. Also for our birthday, which is in 2 weeks' time. It's or a week's time by the time this goes up, September 12th. So I have to do some fun for that. I'm actually really excited. I'm not going anywhere for like 6 weeks, which is the first time in a while because it's just been a busy year flying around, and my parents were here, and then vacation, and then QuakeCon, and then PAX. And like, I'm really happy and fortunate to do all these things, but also I need editing time. So it's nice to have like a 6 week period where basically we'll get out all the machine game stuff, get all the disco stuff done. Some other white label stuff that I've been working on as well is getting wrapped up at the moment. And then I'm off to Australia for a week for South by Southwest. So we'll be doing some sort of patron meetup in Sydney for sure while I'm out there, because I'm out there for like 10 days. And I might be going to Melbourne as well. I'm trying to see. I'm also trying to see if I can swing over to Adelaide, if those Team Cherry folks are going to be a little bit less busy. Maybe they could be interested in doing something, but I'm still trying to reach out to them over that. So we'll see. But that's it for this week. Thank you so much. We will be back next week. And until then, have a fantastic video game week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.